Welcome to the Horror Basement Interviews,
where Jim Jam,
Johnny,
and Yeti
talk to people from all aspects of the horror community and beyond. All right, guys, we got Brantley J Brown here, a writer of Soundbite, right?
Yep, Soundbite.
What was the whole thought process on writing that?
Well, Soundbite actually started very differently than what ended up being the finished product that we released on YouTube. But it all really started with this idea that we live in a culture that's so saturated with social media that we wanted to do something that was that commented on that, but in a really terrifying way. But, you know, there's already some films that deal with it, like Unfriended. So we wanted to think of a way that maybe we could present this idea in a, you know, that was very unique. So I came up with the idea of my business partner and the director of Soundbite, Michael Cologne. I asked him what he thought about doing a song that killed you. And he liked it because it was familiar enough along the lines of The Ring, but it was different enough that it could possibly catch a lot of people's attention.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it started to develop. But actually the original script centered around a male lead, and it was a song that was passed around through Facebook Messenger. But we had everything set up. We were going to use we had an actor, and he backed out at the last minute, and it kind of put us in this spot that we had to rework the entire story. We had a brilliant actress that we had worked with before, Taylor Murphy Sinclair. She was up to do it, so we rewrote the script, and that's what Soundbite is now. She's a really phenomenal actress who I met at a table reading for a feature-length screenplay that I finished this last year. And she read the lead role in that one, and she knocked it out of the ballpark. So whenever it came time for us to start doing our short films for Horror House Media, she was one of the first ideas for an actress that popped into my head.
She did awesome on it. It's definitely a kind of a twisted, mess with your head type short film.
Yeah, when I saw the final cut of the film, it was kind of surreal because I helped to write that story, but seeing it and hearing it with the song and the sound design, it was almost like it was a completely new thing to me, and it actually made me gasp, which I thought was really funny because I helped write it.
She brought it off really well. I don't know. What got me was the foot when her toes curled up. I don't know. Just the extra step. But no, she pulled it off really well. And the one thing it was shot just like so. Where did you guys shoot that on?
I believe Michael told me, because I wasn't able to be on set the day they filmed it, but is a camera called The Red.
Yeah.
I don't know the technical aspects of the cameras and things like that. As far, I'm still fairly new to the industry, so I've just been kind of learning things. He knows more about that, but apparently it was a very, very, very good camera, which they were kind of surprised that the producer wanted to use, considering that this was intended for a YouTube release. But it worked out really good. Everything turned out so beautiful. So
yeah,
I'm glad that they went that way.
Yeah, that Red camera, that's probably, depending on which one it is, probably $50,000 to $70,000.
Ooh.
Yeah, them Red cameras ain't no joke. And they, and the ones that I saw, they're like 70 or like a 8K quality.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's usually only people that they'll just go rent those cameras, because not your average person just gonna be able to go and buy a $70,000 camera.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember it was a big issue trying to decide which camera to use because, we had a modest budget. it's just a short film, and it was the starting film for our new little company. So I understand why they wanted to do it. They really wanted to come out with something that would wow the audience. But I remember we were nervous about the cost.
It's definitely a strong start. So Horror House Media, what do you guys got coming up? Go ahead.
Well, we actually just finished filming the second short film. It's called Stalk, and it is set to be released towards the end of December. I actually just saw a new cut of it this morning. I think it's possibly going to be even better than Soundbite. It has a little bit more meat to the story. It's still simple, but the camera work and the actor and actress who we have in it are amazing. It's very atmospheric. It's almost reminiscent to me of John Carpenter, Halloween 1978 imagery.
Nice. Looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, that one's I'm nervous to have that one released. That one is actually the first horror house film that I wrote completely by myself. Michael helped me touch up Soundbite, but for the rest of the films, it's pretty much just my script.
That's awesome. You guys going to do just shorts, or do you have plans in the future to do feature length, or what's the plan there?
Well, eventually we do want to move into doing feature length films, and the first one that we have our sights on to develop further is actually Soundbite. We have started working on a synopsis to flesh out this whole story surrounding Death Song and what would happen if it gets set loose in a college campus. It's turning out very well. I'm very excited to see how that one progresses, because there's a whole lot more to Soundbite than what is shown in the short film. We wanted that one to just be a tease to make you want more.
It's interesting you say that, because I was watching it. I watched it again earlier. I watched it a few weeks ago, and I felt like it was it would do really well as a scene from a larger movie. And you just left it with so much. Well, what is going on here? So that's really cool. I'm glad you guys are gonna try to flesh that out more, because I think it'd be really interesting.
Yeah, actually, the scene with the girl, we kind of envisioned it as possibly the opening scene for the feature.
That would be a perfect. Yeah, I knew that would happen.
Every time.
Yeah, that would be a perfect scene to open with. That would definitely get the tension high and just if you write it, do it and keep it with the tension high. I like movies like that. It has me on the edge of my seat the whole movie.
And we really wanted to amp up the suspense aspect, because one of the things that I hate about the state of horror films these days is they rely so heavily on what you see, which sometimes it has its purpose, and it's a good sell for like the fear. It just gives you a exclamation point on everything you've been feeling. It's validation. But I think that a lot of times people forget about setting the mood.
Right. For instance, Rosemary's Baby. You never see anything, but the dread is so palpable throughout the whole movie.
Yes.
It's something you don't see a lot.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about everything that we're doing with Horror House. At first, I was a little leery of it because I wasn't quite sure how receptive people would be to it, because, they're relatively all going to be short, 10 minutes and under. Like Soundbite was only 4 minutes. But it is exciting because it's a chance for me as a writer to tackle real world issues that I have a problem with and package them in a pill that might be easier to swallow, which that's one of the beautiful things about making horror films, because you can say a lot.
You can. That's one of my favorite things about horror is there's so much commentary you can put into it and still have a movie that's not preaching. You have plenty of ways to pack in commentary and it not be right on the nose, and that's something I've always really enjoyed seeing.
Yeah, actually, the new film that's coming out in a couple of weeks, Stalk, is centered around the idea of the whole Me Too movement. I don't want to give too much away in how we incorporated it in there, but it is very much a female driven piece that deals with the empowerment of women over violence.
That's that's a good message to have, especially like right now in the climate we're in. It's something good to see, and it's a smart choice for the climate we're in, and it's something that I think more people need to see. Definitely, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking on that, I know you're out in Hollywood and LA and all that. What is it like nowadays with all that going on, like actors getting cut off shows and just all that stuff? I know the shit that's being said that they've done is heinous and all that. So how is it nowadays compared to before?
It's at this point, I haven't had too much exposure to the changing Hollywood scene, but I'm also thankful for that at this time, because being very much in the midst of independent horror, I haven't had a chance to deal with too many of the men and women in high power and the way that they've used their positions and to belittle the people they work with. Like you hear like Harvey Weinstein, we've all heard about what he did.
Oh yeah.
And how it's been a trickle down effect and everything. But as far as right now, I haven't had too much experience with how it's changed Hollywood. I do know that it has affected when we work with like the producer. We have to be very conscious about what we put in our films. We still want to be able to say what we're thinking, but at the same time, there's just this underlying fear that you don't want to piss off the wrong group.
I think that's what we're all kind of operating under right now is, it's a double-edged sword, like do you feel like it limits you artistically, or do you feel like it's a good change?
If anything, I actually think that it makes what I do more interesting. I don't feel limited. I actually feel like this is an opportunity for me to push more buttons. I never want to offend anyone, but given that it's such a volatile topic and everybody has different opinions and viewpoints on it, and is it going too far? Is it not enough being done? And I will never be one of those people to just out to somebody's face or get on social media and go, this is what I think. But I love that I get to explore all sides of the stories and, both opinions. And I try to incorporate that into my writing. So if anything, I think it's actually a very fortuitous change in the sense that, yes, it has changed the landscape for actors and actresses and producers who work with them, but I don't think that it's been a bad thing for a writer per se.
That makes sense.
I'm one that I like to see stuff that they push buttons and all that stuff. I don't know if you feel about all this, everybody being really sensitive. I understand, you don't need to bully people and all that, but just why all of a sudden is everybody so sensitive?
The sensitivity I don't understand. I mean, I do get that, in general, it shouldn't even be an issue. People should just be nice to other people, plain and simple. but it doesn't mean that we have to walk on eggshells.
Yeah,
You know, I am a gay Democrat. Sometimes probably people would say I'm even more liberal, but I don't find myself getting as easily offended as other people, you know, you hear about. I mean, I don't have a thin skin, so yeah, I'm not going to agree with everybody, and some people will say things that might bother me to an extent, but it's not going to ruin my life. I can go on about my day. It's fine.
Yeah, see, I see that too, because I, you know, when I started becoming like politically aware, I guess you'd say, this was from Bill Hicks and George Carlin. You know, and I'm you know, if I vote, I'm a felon, I can't vote. But if I did, I'd. But I see these younger liberals, and it's just like, damn, dude, where's your anger? You know, we used to be an angry bunch. We were the offensive, angry bunch, and now that's, I don't know. It's a strange dichotomy here on the left.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It's just I grew up just fine, you know. I feel very lucky in being one of those people who grew up in that perfect time where parents weren't as overbearing and nervous. People weren't, in general, so easily butt hurt. You know, I mean, it's just, I think that, you know, there's a certain group of us people who really are the lucky ones. You know, we know how to fall down, scrape our knees, and get back up and keep on trucking. And I feel like there's a current generation that's just too soft.
I agree totally on that, and I'm scared my kid's going to be like that, and I don't want that, because this, you know, we all know it's a rough motherfucking world to be in, rough as hell. But you can't.
That is one of the topics actually that I'm looking to tackle in one of the future horror house films that I write. It's just a sort of a small subject, like a small subcategory of the whole culture that we have now. But it's focused on how kids always win, and they expect that they have to win. And I do believe that positive affirmation is important in the development of a child, but sometimes you lose and sometimes you win, and that is just the way life works. And I think if we go around and keep it up and continually give every child a trophy, that actually could have some very, very scary results. And the idea of that, it's not like in your face, you know, killer with a knife type of horror, but the idea that we are slowly building a group of people who expect that they're always going to get their way. You know, what happens when they don't get their way, and how is that going to affect them?
Yeah, I think that's when it comes into play with the whole mass shootings and stuff, because that's the only way they know how to, like, well, if I can't get my way, I'm just going to do this, or it don't even have to be mass shooting or whatever. But that's what I've been having an issue with. I talked about something about, like, are you an 80s baby?
Yep, born in 1984.
Yeah, me too. 84 here too. But in going through school, I know, you know, there was bullying. There's been bullying since the beginning of time, but I don't know. I don't remember people coming to school trying to hurt people because someone bullied them. I don't know if it's just we just bottled it up or what, but it didn't really start happening until only thing I remember started, it was Columbine.
Yep, Columbine was the first time I remember hearing anything about anything like that happening.
So do you think that's when all this getting your way, not getting your way, kind of probably, I don't know.
Well, you know, my thought process on that, like, say Columbine happened, and it definitely, a shift started there. But you know what I think that people started to do? They started to try to examine these kids. Why did they do this? Well, they were bullied or they were treated badly. And in that way, I think I understand why people started to think we've got to be more sensitive to people to look happen. But I think it has gone, we like jumped the shark. Yes.
Yeah.
We don't want to bully people, but I don't think that we need to coddle people either.
Right.
No, not at all.
I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma. I was born in '86, so like we're pretty much on the same page. And like when we had bullies at school, we'd catch a fair one. You know, you get up, you throw hands, and you're done. Nobody went to jail.
Right.
You know, and like you can't do that anymore. As like I have a school age kid, and you can't do that anymore. You'll go to fucking kid jail. Like they will straight up, they will like whole ass cuff you. This shit's crazy to me, man. And I think that has a lot to do with it. It's the coddling and then when you see the real world, you fucking lash out. That's why we have all these late teens, early 20s people out there being fucking dead inside, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, you know, what if they had a thing where as long as both sides are cool, put some boxing gloves on and let them beat the hell out of each other and then shake hands after?
Right.
Them knocks, boy. I don't know.
It's just kind of a crazy situation all around when you think of it.
It's fertile ground. That's the best thing about it for creatives. It's a fertile ground right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Speaking,
and, reality is the best source of inspiration for an artist. No matter whether you're a painter, a writer, a director, you know, if you are able to take from reality and twist it to create something truly, you know, moving, and it can be moving in many different ways. It can make you cry, it can make you laugh, it can scare you, but it's so fun in a way, you know. Not that it's weird to say that because I write really horrific things, but it's fun to be able to take these things that I see happening around me and bend them to my will, so that I'm still being truthful and getting my point across, but at the same time, I feel like I'm actually coming out with some really thought-provoking pieces.
Yeah, well, speaking like you was talking about the whole coddling and stuff of the kids nowadays, and I would really like to see a short film or even a feature about maybe how to turn this shit around and get it back to not so sensitive, I guess, which I don't think that'll ever happen, but maybe there can be a movie that turns it around, you know?
Yeah, it would be nice to take the ideal of reversing it. It would be definitely something to look at if it's done right. I think it'd be very, very powerful piece.
Like, what about like taking the whole Columbine, but not actually doing Columbine, but from the right after Columbine happened and how they handled it, but just not reverse it, but handle it differently than how it got handled. That could surely be a horror movie, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot lately, you know, and the sensitivity of everything, and but like that, it kind of goes back to the Hollywood thing, how all that got started, which I guess it was been happening for years, but people just got, you know, fed up with getting treated like shit, and I'm glad that they're speaking out against it, because people with money always got over the little people. And that's I bet there's probably been actors out there that would probably be phenomenal actors, but got pushed down because they wouldn't do something with one of those people.
Right, and that's crazy. You never should find yourself punished for having integrity. And yet, I think it happens more often than not in the entertainment industry. I mean, it happens in a lot of different facets of life, but I definitely think the entertainment industry can be so such a breeding ground for that kind of behavior, because it's full of pretty people, and you have so many pretty people. People only start to look at you for as what you look like and not what you have to offer, and they try to manipulate that. Oh, well, you look good, and we could use you. So what can you do for me? And I think that's ridiculous. It should just be based on talent.
Well, we definitely look forward to the next short, and look forward to everything else. And keep us in the loop on the next short, and we'll.
I might be a little biased, being the writer of it, but when I watched it, it's very powerful, and I think you're going to enjoy it. If you liked Soundbite, it's like Soundbite was a little appetizer, and this is a little bit more of the main course. What we're going to be doing, a little more representative of what projects are going to be like from here on out.
I'm looking forward to seeing it for sure.
Oh, hell yeah.
We're getting this one prepped for release now, and we've already kind of started talking about what's next, what's the third film, and then what are we going to do after that. We're really trying to come up with a system that works. We are a fledgling company, and we want to find our beat, and it's been extremely helpful getting the response and the feedback that we have, like off of Soundbite. So we know what works. We know what people think. And it's kind of gives us a little more courage to keep doing it, because right now it's just all very scary. It's only our second film about to come out. So, we're still holding our breath, just waiting to see, is this one going to get such a good response? But I've got my fingers crossed. I think it's going to do well.
I believe so. This one's obviously doing well, and hopefully it'll spawn a feature out of it and many more from your other films, shorts and all that. But keep up the good work, and definitely keep in touch. TN Horror News is here to back y'all. So
yeah, whenever Michael had mentioned to me that he had told you guys about me, I was like, hey, that's perfect. I said, I used to live there in Tennessee. I was in Murfreesboro.
Well, I'm here in Manchester, and Yeti is close to Knoxville.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Right.
Yeah, I was actually
actually.
I lived in Tennessee all the way up until August of 2017. My fiance had just finished college. He was there at MTSU, and I had been writing for a long time, but I had never tried to do anything with it. And yeah, we just found ourselves in this position where we had endless possibilities of where to go next. And I just kind of jokingly said, well, let's go to California. I want to write and make movies. And a lot of people say that, and they come out here and nothing happens. But he believed in me, and we packed up everything we could, sold what we couldn't pack, and drove across the country. And I just got met up with the right people, and which was Michael Cologne, and he knows so many people in the industry that he kind of took me under his wing. We became friends, and then business partners, and then here, just a little over a year later, we've got Horror House going. I've got a feature-length screenplay sitting on the desk of a COO of a studio. We've written 2 movies, holiday movies for potentially lifetime releases. So, yeah, it's been a crazy busy year since I left Tennessee, but it's all good.
I like it.
Well, so was you born in Tennessee?
I actually was born in Missouri, just a little bit south of Cape Girardeau. And then whenever I lived there, my father got sick when I was in my early 20s, and I stayed close to home for a long time. But then finally, I wanted to get out and see what else was out there, but I didn't want to go too far so that if something happened, I could get back home in a hurry. And I made my way to Tennessee. It's just the people were so friendly, and it's so beautiful there.
Yeah,
it just felt like a good fit, and it was a good fit for me. I mean, I loved living there in Tennessee, and if it weren't for the fact that I wanted to pursue a career in Hollywood, we'd probably still be there.
All except for the summertime. It sucks in the summer.
Oh yeah, mosquitoes and the humidity and the heat.
Yeah, damn that.
Yeah, me and Yeti are some big dudes, so yeah, the heat is not a good thing for us.
Now we get hot here in California, but it's dry. So it may be in triple digits, but somehow or another, I can still manage to deal with it better than I ever could the summer times in Tennessee.
Hey, at least you could just go jump in the ocean if you need to, you know?
That is true. If I weren't scared of sharks, I would.
I totally agree with that. That's why I don't swim in lakes and rivers here. Have you ever watched River Monsters?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't do the swimming thing. If I'm hot, I'll sit in the AC.
Yeah, I like to see oceans and lakes, and I like seeing nature in that sense, but I have a big enough fear and respect for the things that are out there that I know where to stay. That's where you guys live, this is where I live, and the two shall not meet.
Yeah, because then you don't want your leg or something in their belly.
Right, yeah. Well, and I see news reports about how they've spotted record number of great white sharks off the California coast, and I'm like, damn it. Okay, yep, nope.
Sharks that your whole body can fit into, no problem. So yeah, I think I'll stay on land.
Yeah. Not that there's things on land that can get you, but at least I can get away faster than I could if I'm in water.
Oh yeah, you can at least run. But well, hell yeah, man. I'll let you get back to it because it sounds like you having a nice day there. It's not a nice day here.
Yeah, it was one of those things. I rarely ever stop working. Michael Blome and I have this policy about us that until we make it, big and we're, well recognized and respected, you never really stop working. You're always constantly working towards that goal. And I don't know, I guess everything's been going so fast this last year, and we just finished filming the second Horror House film, and our friends wanted to take us to Disneyland, and I was just like, you know what? Yes, I'm taking the weekend off, I'm gonna go have fun. And yeah, it's been a much needed break. And then as soon as we get back tonight, back to work.
Well, yeah, you got to stay on that grind. I know Hollywood's a fast-paced place, and you got to jump in when you can. And well, hopefully hopefully everything works out, and y'all become a household name like Blumhouse.
That's what we were kind of hoping for. It's just the idea that they were kind of one of those people that started very small. And even now that they're huge, they still do things small scale if you compare them to standard Hollywood templates. They work cheap and fast and usually come out with quality projects.
Yeah, it's crazy, the whole unfriended thing, how they pulled that off, recording everything pretty much on like Facebook Messenger and Facebook and all that shit. That just blows my mind how in the hell they did that. But yeah, Skype and all that. Anyways, yeah, they definitely tapped into something awesome.
Yes, they did.
But hopefully now we will see Horror House doing the same thing, and we want to see y'all a household name.
Well, we're definitely working towards that, so watch this space.
Hell yeah. Well, like I said, look forward to everything to come. Keep in touch, and we'll promote for y'all all we can.
We appreciate that. As great to talk to people about this, because very rarely do the writers ever get much of a voice, I found, in this industry. So it's nice to be able to talk about these stories and what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's one thing we try to do is talk to everybody in the film industry and beyond. Hell, we've even talked to a manager of Kane Hodder. We had her on the podcast.
Oh, he's awesome. That's my goals I'm setting for myself. I don't need to win an Oscar. I don't even need to make $1 million, but I want Kane Hodder to be in one of my films.
Well, hey, I'm sure Michael knows probably who she is. Her name's Judy Fox, though. Get in touch with her, man. Yeah. She can hook it up.
Yeah, I'll be just like a little kid. Probably if I get to be on set, just watching him work, I'd be like, "Oh my God, I've made it."
Hey, also
Have you met him yet?
the good thing about Kane Hodder is if you got him to be there in the movie, you can also have him as a stunt coordinator.
That's true. And that was one of the things I told Michael about, because we were talking about my feature, which is Chuckles. It's an 80s throwback film. We were talking about when the time comes and we want to make this movie, who we saw as the killer. And Eileen Dietz, who was in The Exorcist, read the script and loved it, and she's a great friend of ours. So she's attached for a role, and she actually told us that if we wanted Kane, she says, he's my friend, let me talk to him, and we could probably get him to play the killer. And that just kind of blew me away. I was like, oh my God, he's Jason. Could you imagine? People would come to see the movie just for that fact alone, whether it was good or not.
Well, hell yeah. Well, I hope that works out where you can because, yeah, we got to meet Kane at a screening of Death House. He's a very humble and down-to-earth guy, so, yeah. And he loves to fuck with people.
Yeah, I saw him at a convention one time. He scared my my fiance pretty bad.
Oh, I bet you loved that, though, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. No, I was eating it up.
Yeah, he used to choke people, but apparently he about got in trouble for it, so he had to quit doing it.
Yeah, I heard that. That was one of those things I was like, oh, come on.
If you ask for him to choke you, then you're going to get choked. Duh.
Right.
But, yeah. Well, I'll let you get off here, man, and we appreciate you coming on. And
thank you for having me.
And we look forward, like I said, to everything coming. And good luck. And, yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you. Talk to y'all later.
All right, man. Thank you.
See ya.
All right, you too. Bye.
Hell yeah, guys. We appreciate you coming and listening to this interview with Brantley J Brown, writer of Soundbite, and what was the one he said?
We got one more coming out at the end of December called Stalker. And then he's already got the script for an 80s throwback called Chuckles written. So, I mean, these guys are killing it. Keep an eye on Horror House Media, and, Brantley's a pretty intelligent writer, man. His stuff's going to be something to look for.
Hey, yeah, y'all go check out our all our social media. We got Snapchat, and, all the typical ones. We're on Horror Amino.
If you haven't seen it yet, check out Horror House Media's YouTube channel. Just search them. And also the Soundbite horror short. It's about 4 minutes long. It's on YouTube. It's completely free. Go watch that shit, man. It like we said in the interview, it would fit perfectly as the opening scene to a movie. It does give you a lot of questions that you want answered. But it's well shot, and it's a well crafted short, man. Go check it out for sure.
Hell yeah. You can follow them on Instagram as well. And you can listen to this podcast if you're listening to this podcast, you already know where to listen to.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. Wherever you're listening to it at, that's a good place to listen. But, yeah. So, I keep saying, yeah. Well, that's all we got, y'all. We out. Peace.
Stay spooky. Try not to be an asshole.